Hi everyone, welcome to Not Only Diet Talk, and today is a special episode sponsored by HL SuperMilk.
Yeah.
So we are going to discuss further into the strength in milk, and it's all related back to Sarcopenia.
Yeah.
So if you guys, the audiences, the viewers, the listeners, if you go to our Instagram right now, we are actually doing campaign educating and increasing awareness about Sarcopenia to the public. And today we are going to talk deeper about fighting sarcopenia one sip at a time. So we're going to talk more in detail about the strength in milk.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very detailed, I think.
Yeah. The details where probably our audience can understand.
Hopefully, yeah.
We won't get too technical in a way.
Yeah, too technical and too scientific. We try.
Yeah.
We try, okay? Yeah. And we have a special guest for this particular episode. A very special episode, as mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And we are going to focus on how milk can play a role in fighting sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? We can tell you right now, but if you don't mind to go back to our Instagram and see what is the meaning of sarcopenia, it will be good. Yeah. But basically, sarcopenia is a age-related muscle loss.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. Okay. So Shenyi, I have one question. How old are you now, actually, so that everybody knows?
Okay, I'm almost 30 right now.
Wow, that's
Almost
a huge
30.
number.
Yeah.
Almost 30. You don't look like 30, right?
I mean, yeah, sometimes because I get enough nutrition.
Oh wow.
That's a secret.
Related a little bit, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you almost 30.
Yeah, almost 30.
Okay. So did you notice any kind of like loss of muscle as you are currently age right now? Especially when you don't eat enough protein, you don't exercise that much because of when we start to go into this age, maybe too busy. We always give
busy with work.
always. Oh my god, work. Yeah, same, right? Yeah.
Right. Me personally, I do notice if let's say sometimes I didn't really take care of my diet, right? Then I will sometimes will look at my muscle. Sometimes, right, it will shrink, and the whole body shape will become smaller. But usually, if let's say I start to take care of my nutrition back, then. And also together with exercise regularly, it should be better. The muscle will come back.
Got
Easy
it.
to say, yeah.
Got it. So in a way, Shenyi is giving a hint lah. What are we gonna talk today, right?
Yep.
It's about does sarcopenia only affect older people? Because 30 is not very old, right? Please guys agree with me.
Yeah.
It's not that old, right?
It's not that old. Yeah.
So so the question is that does sarcopenia only affect older people, like older generation? Does muscle loss, right, only affect older generation? And how can we fight sarcopenia with milk, with fortified milk, right? So we want to layer by layer discover and discuss about it. So that's why we invite our guest speaker today, which is Ping Ni. She has experience working in a clinical setting, but then I think it would be good for me to give you the floor to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Amirul. Hi everyone, I'm the dietitian Lipini. It's my great pleasure to be on this podcast, Not Only Diet Talk. So other than my profession as a dietitian, I'm also an athlete since a young age, and that's why I'm very passionate about promoting holistic health through nutrition, lifestyle, and also beauty.
So you say you are an athlete?
Yes.
Still an athlete right now?
Yes, still actively training.
Oh, in what field actually?
Short distance sprinting and also flag football.
Shenyi.
Yeah.
She's strong.
We have someone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so this is something that we try to bring in the special episode because we are interviewing dietitian, nutritionists, right? And we feel that every dietitian and nutritionist I shouldn't use should because it's very strong word, might actually have their own nutrition principle. Okay, what we mean by principle is something that you hold, that you believe in nutrition perspective. So what is your nutrition principle?
I do have one very general principle which I strongly believe in. I'm sure that most of the nutritionist, dietitian would have heard about it, which is let Thai food be Thai medicine, which is from the father of medicine, Hippocrates. So because we eat food every day, right? I mean, I personally, I'm a foodie. I love to eat.
Same.
Yeah.
So food is something essential to maintain our body health. So I feel like how can we improve this, right? How can we use food to improve our health condition? Okay, this is also the main reason that drives me into being a dietitian. I want to use food to help people.
Understand. That's amazing. And that's why we want to discuss how can milk help in fighting sarcopenia in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good transition.
Yeah.
It's very smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a question. Since you mentioned about your so-called your principal, right? Before you choose this course, you already is that already in your mind? You want to use food to take care of to improve your health, or like you find it along the way? Just curious.
I think I'm the first that I already know what I want to do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I think today what we're going to share is going to be, coming from a person who already clear on what the effect of the benefits of nutrition and also food, right? Okay, so let's go to the first segment of our discussion today.
Of course.
Right. So when we talk about sarcopenia, just now Amiru did mention something. Yeah, you basically already mentioned what is it about, right? But maybe we can listen from Pingni, like what is sarcopenia?
So sarcopenia is, like Amiru mentioned, is a muscle loss of their mass and muscle strength. Okay, so it's also due to age related, because as we age, it's naturally to lose our muscle. But this is something that we can prevent actually. And actually among Malaysians now, there's also high prevalence of this sarcopenia among our elderly in Malaysia. It's been increasing, and this can also lead to morbidity and mortality. Morbidity is referring when someone is suffering from a medical condition, and mortality just means death.
I see.
That means if let's say this muscle loss was not being taken care of, it will lead to like probably the morbidity that you mentioned just now, to probably higher risk to get some diseases.
Yes, correct.
I see. Okay, all right. So, okay, before we go further, we know that sarcopenia right now. We know that sarcopenia is something related with as we age, but it also doesn't really start when you become older. It can start, like, is there any data that you come across that the prevalence of sarcopenia among Malaysian?
Okay, so usually sarcopenia starts around when in our 50s, okay, and after 50s we will have about 5% to 8% of muscle loss every decade. But now, according to the latest data, it can start as early as in our 30s.
Okay.
To be fair, I'm also almost 30. Okay.
all right. Okay.
Start
Yeah.
taking care, guys.
Yeah, so I have to start taking care right now. Like me, highlight. Okay, so is there any? So when you talk about first thing first, we know about when we grow older, like that could definitely be one of the reasons when we age, like throughout aging, our muscle loss will happen, and especially starting from 30s. All right. So is there any other factor?
Another factor would be, I would say, diet and lifestyle.
Okay.
So for diet wise, imbalanced nutrition can actually directly affect our muscle loss, because one of the macronutrient like protein is directly related to the sarcopenia, because protein is the building blocks to our muscle. If we have an imbalanced diet, it can increase the risk of getting sarcopenia. And another thing would be our lifestyle. So if our lifestyle is sedentary, we're not active enough, our muscle, like Shay mentioned, it will like slowly shrinking. Yes, and increase the risk of sarcopenia.
Okay. Do we want to discover a little bit more so that we can explain more in layman, like what is actually imbalanced diet?
Okay.
Yeah.
So a proper diet essentially includes macronutrients like carbohydrates, protein and fats, and also micronutrients like vitamins and minerals. So imbalanced diet means that the proportion of the nutrients in our diet is loose balance. Okay, it might be having too much of something or too little of something. So we must make sure that our diet is in a balance. Okay, so that we can have better nutrition.
Understand.
Okay, particularly about protein that you mentioned just now.
Yes.
Okay, like maybe in brief, how protein helps with muscle.
Okay, so after we consume the food that's rich in protein, right? After our body breaks down the protein, it will become amino acids. So amino acid is building blocks to our muscle. That's why protein directly relates to our muscle mass and the growth.
Okay. All right. That's interesting.
That's something very details in terms of the small particle, right?
Yep.
Okay, maybe as well as when you mentioned about just how you talk about protein as like a building block
blocks.
for our muscles.
Yep.
So what is the function of muscle? Why is it so important for us to take care of the muscle? Yeah.
So just now I mentioned protein as the
building
building
block.
block. So you can imagine protein, they are like a brick, and our muscle are the walls. So we need those bricks to build up a wall that is strong enough to maintain our daily function. Because even now, like I'm talking, I'm using my facial muscle. Okay, if I want to see, I'm using my leg muscle, my hip muscle. Everything that we do, we need to use our muscle to support all this body function.
Oh, so that relates back if let's say someone sometimes along the time when they age, they find that climbing a stair
Could be difficult.
Could be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
They could be due to loss of their muscle strength as well.
Okay, all right. So before we move on
Yeah.
further, right, I want to know more about the sedentary lifestyle that you mentioned just now. As right now, sometimes work gets too busy and really, I mean, kind of hard to find time to do exercise. Okay, to like really do exercise. So how can it directly impact on my muscle?
Not just you, I experienced the same thing as well.
Okay.
Because like after long working hours, we've been like sitting in front of a desktop and everything. After we get off work, we just want to go back, lie down and rest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's also one of the pain of being working.
Yeah.
Yes.
And another reason that would be like the public transport and also the transportation is getting so convenient right now. Like people back in the days, they can only walk or cycling to another place that they want to go to.
Yeah.
So now with all those transportation, it's convenience, right? It saves a lot of our time, but it also take away a lot of our time to exercise. So that's one of the main reason that younger generation now, they are lacking time for like training, for exercise, and makes them become more sedentary.
I see that like in terms of this thing that happened among younger populations, right? Despite working.
Yep.
But also the social media, right?
Yes.
People are sitting a lot as well.
Yeah, even me now, I tend to stick on my phone like for a longer time now. Once I scroll, it can be for hours.
Yeah, to be
4 hours,
honest,
yeah.
same. It can be, especially particular social media where when you started to look into it, they would start to have algorithm and they make you feel like, oh, this is what I want to watch.
Yeah.
And without we realize that those things also actually impact, this.
The more we look at the screen, the less active we become. And fun fact, actually, they did like a screen time survey over the world, and Malaysia actually ranked 8th in the global, and which makes us second in Asia area.
Yeah, second. I think I come across that we got the second place.
You mean in terms of the consuming of
Long screen time.
Longest screen time in Asia, we are the second. I can't remember who is the.
Philippines was the first, and then Malaysia with about average 8 hour plus every day. Of
That's my
time.
screen time.
Same.
same?
Yeah, with
my iPhone
work.
will send the
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that is actually very scary.
Yeah.
When it comes to seeing all this data and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So basically, now we get to know muscle loss can actually affect younger generation as well. So it's not only the older people that can actually get this, because I have the perception of like, because we are getting old, then we are not moving that much. We start to lose all this muscle naturally. So that's why it's easy for us to get this sarcopenia, this muscle loss, right? But then when we start to discuss on this, I think the audiences should also agree that it is true that because of this work, like sitting too long, social media, it's not only affecting the older generations now, but we have to accept the fact that it's also going to affect us as the younger generations.
Yeah.
All right. Very interesting
Yes.
findings. Okay. So, why is it so essential for us not to have this muscle loss?
Because there's a few main reasons. One of it is, like I mentioned just now, muscle is something to protect us, to prevent injury, because muscle is something that protects our bones. And if we have a good muscle, okay, with a good strength, it can it can keep our body in balance. Like let's say if I were to fall, but if my muscle is strong enough, then I can quickly get back up. But if it's like, let's say I really would fall on the ground, our muscle can help to protect our bones. So in a way, it helps to prevent injury, reduce risk of getting fractures as well. And another one of the main reason is to support our daily movement. Like doing right now, I need muscle, right?
I understand. And I think it can be as simple as like just walking. Yeah.
Walking, sitting, going to bathroom.
Understand. Okay. Yep, Shanji. So maybe we pretty much done with the first segment actually.
To understand sarcopenia and why is muscle so important.
Yep, that's true. So maybe we can actually talk further into the second segment. It's about the solution, I would say. I don't know, it's the solution or the prevention. How do you guys think? Like, it's a prevention or a solution, or?
I would say both.
Yeah.
It's a combination of both, right?
Of both.
Yeah. So we want to discuss further about fighting sarcopenia with milk, right?
Okay.
And how does the role of milk actually helps in preventing or like solving this sarcopenia? Okay, I can agree with you both. Like, preventing is us as a younger generations. If we take early, then we can prevent the sarcopenia, right?
Yeah.
But okay, one serious question: is it really helping to solve the issue for older generation if we take milk?
You mean when the older generation already have sarcopenia?
Yep.
Okay. I would say with a good nutrition, balanced diet, and adequate amount of exercise, it can definitely reverse the condition of sarcopenia.
Interesting. We're gonna get back to that first part later. Okay. Yeah, Shinji.
Yep. So when just now I think the second segment we really focus or dive deeper into nutrition, and one of the food or one of the macronutrients that you mentioned just now, like, is protein, right? Maybe and you mentioned about as well, protein is the building blocks of our muscles. What else in the diet that we should take care in terms of nutrition? But what else is the things that we need to focus besides protein? Is there anything else? Like maybe some micronutrients kind of things?
Micronutrients, like let's say for muscle health and bone health, another thing would definitely be vitamin D and calcium. So there's some of the fortified milk in the market now is also fortified with high protein, vitamin D and calcium to reduce the risk of sarcopenia or even to prevent it.
I see. Okay. What else is the function of protein if besides muscle? Is there any other benefits if, let's say, we start to include it in our diet? Like, how is there any other function besides muscle?
Okay. So other than building our muscle, protein also helps to repair our cells and tissues. Okay, like the amino acid I mentioned earlier. So our body actually requires a total 20 types of amino acid. So amino acid, there's also different type. One is essential, another one is non-essential. So non-essential amino acid means that our body can create it by itself. But for essential amino acid, our body could not produce itself. Where do we get it? From the diet. Okay, so it's important that we acquire protein from our diet itself.
Understand.
And another main function of protein will be to make hormones and enzymes, which are important to maintain our body function as well.
Hormones.
Yeah. Some of the things where most of us might not even realize, right?
Because we always associate protein with like just muscle. Yeah. Example, like at our age right now, it's all about we go to the gym or like taking care.
Muscles.
Muscles, and it's all about protein. So we forgot that actually it helps in hormone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe out of topic a little bit. Why is it so important about hormone? Because we are mentioning it as part of the discussion, right? Why is it important for us to take this protein to our hormone? Like, why is it so important?
Because hormones and enzyme is typically what our body needs daily for different function. Let's say for digestive system, for our cardiovascular health, we all need these hormones and enzyme to keep our body in function, in balance.
Understand.
Right. So basically, that is another function of protein. So let's move deeper into it. I think maybe you can share with us the example of food to include in the diet that we consider as like a source of protein.
Sure. So protein usually divide into animal protein and plant protein. So animal protein, definitely we have the milk, we have the meat, poultry, seafood, and as for plant protein, we have the beans and legumes, tofu, soy milk. All these are the sources for protein.
See.
Okay. Is there any difference before we move further, right? Is there any difference between animal-based protein and plant-based protein? Because what I understand when you mention about plant-based protein, I think it is more towards vegetarian.
Yes.
Like, is there any which one is better, or is there any difference between these two except the source?
I would say both of these two types of protein, they have their own benefits. But as for animal protein, is higher in absorption and bioavailability value, or we call it BV. Okay, so this bioavailability value means that how after we consume the food, how our body absorb and actually utilize it. So animal protein actually has higher absorption and bioavailability value compared to plant protein.
And as far as I know, like animal protein has higher fats.
Usually for me, if the patient is not lactose intolerant, I will always offer them animal protein like milk instead of plant protein because of the amino acid profile. And animal milk has this complete amino acid, so means that if we drink a glass of this milk, we can actually get this full profile of amino acid. We don't have to worry about all the other essential amino acid we have to get from somewhere else.
I see. Okay, I'm trying to ask this question because people are getting more concerned and afraid about fat nowadays. You know, they try to take everything less fat. You know, everything from plant protein. So it's a bit hard for us to change their mindset, right? Because they're afraid of the fat content. So they know for the fact that plant protein might have lower fat or almost none, for example. So how do we tell people? You get what I mean? It's like fat is still very important actually to our body, right?
Yeah.
So
like we mentioned the balanced diet just now. Fat is also one of the major components of our diet.
Okay. Do you want to just share a little bit about why fat is still very important to our body, so that people won't have the misconception or afraid, or when we talk about fat, everything is bad?
Okay, maybe we can look into this way, like the fat in animal proteins is somewhat natural. It's already natural in the food itself, instead of like a fried food, is something that like added fat. So we can think of it this way. And if you want me to compare animal protein and plant protein, yes, the animal protein might have higher fat content, but plant-based protein, they also have lower PV value, lower absorption. So I would say it's give and take. So let's say today, if I really drink the milk that's higher fat content compared to plant-based milk, maybe next time, my next meal, I'll just reduce the fat content. I will eat fried food, I will eat less fat.
Yeah, so it's about complementing and also making it variety, balance, and of course at the end of the day, it's about moderation, right? Yeah.
I like the fact when she mentioned about the cooking method, because oftentimes what contribute is the cooking method in terms of like those fried food, some of the gravies and things like that. But I do somehow come across as well some of the products or some of the options available in the market will be more towards maybe they have a lower fat version or like, so would that be one of healthier choices for us to choose for?
I would say definitely yes, because nowadays, like Amiru mentioned, the people are just so concerned about the fat content.
All right. Before we move on to maybe the second part other than diet, right? Just now you mentioned about vegetarian, like plant-based protein. Plant-based protein, like the protein amino acid profile is not complete. So as a vegetarian itself, how can they get, because they can't take animal-based protein, right? So what can they do, or like is that means they are not going to get complete amino acid?
That's a good question.
A lot of people have this perception as well, like vegetarian diet is not so nutritious as compared to like a general diet with animal protein and this. So not getting enough protein is one of the concerns for vegetarian diet, and some other nutrients like iron, vitamin B12, these are also one of the concerns of consuming vegetarian
Yep.
diet. So for vegetarian diet, the tricky part is that they need to really have a wide variety of their food, not just plant-based protein, also other vegetables as well. They have to keep it very wide variety so that they can actually get all these nutrients.
Understand. I think you mentioned a very good point when you said about this vegetarian diet, right? It makes me realize that nutrition is a holistic perspective. Like example, you can't just follow a trend because everybody is being vegetarian. Then you want to be a vegetarian, but you do not know what is going to impact you, or is it good or bad for you. There's nothing wrong being a vegetarian here. I'm not against anyone who is a vegetarian or a vegan, but I think the point that I want to highlight here is that nutrition is it's a holistic perspective. You need a proper understanding, like about you mentioned about the plant-based protein and also animal-based protein, right? It's about complementing, you know. Maybe plant protein has lower BV, right? Bioavailability value. And then animal protein has higher fat. But then does that mean it's not good to take animal protein because it's higher fat? Does that mean that we always need to take just plant protein? So I like the point of that, like that we should actually look it into a more holistic perspective.
Yes, I agree with that.
And there's no like certain food that is certainly bad towards our health. It's all about, go back to what you mentioned, the moderation, the variety, and also the balance.
Yeah.
And no one food can provide all the nutrients we want.
Yeah, that's true. And I think this is purely nutrition perspective. We are not talking about morality, I would say, like, because people sometimes become vegetarian or vegan because of the morality part of it, right? Killing animals and stuff. But we're talking on just purely on nutrition perspective. So we have to be very clear on this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alright.
I think there's a very good add-on on that lah, because everyone practice for different reasons.
Some might be religious.
That could be as well.
Related to religion, but all in all, perhaps the approach will be, as long as you understand nutrition wise, and nutrition is a holistic approach, you know how to, even you are taking incomplete protein or you are taking like lower BV protein, how can you complement and make it better?
That's true.
All right. So maybe the next segment we more towards like life modification. Like besides diet, is there any lifestyle habit that we will need to take care?
One thing that can really help to maintain, even improve our muscle mass and strength, I would say, is strength training or resistance training, like lifting weights, using resistance band to exercise. So this is very good to help us improve our muscle mass, is because every time we let's say we do a resistance training, it will create tiny tears in our muscle fiber. So when our body repairs it not only repairs the tears, it also make our muscle grow bigger and stronger. That's why you always see all those bodybuilder, they go to gym and they become so bulky. That's the reason why.
I see. Okay. So if let's say you talk about exercise, maybe briefly, because I believe not everyone have resistance band, not everyone have the access to gym. If let's say they don't have the access to gym, does being active in daily life, I don't know, like walk more and things like that, could that be considered as part of the active lifestyle? And that could help with like muscle synthesis, I don't know.
So like you mentioned, if they really don't have the resources, walking, climbing stairs, just doing squat, sit and stand at home is also an exercise to train our leg muscles.
So it is sufficient.
Good question. Would it be sufficient? Usually for me, if the person really have no resources or no time, this is what I would suggest. They can do it in their daily, like going to work, going to their office, they can just take the stairs. If they want to go get their car, they want to go to the MRT station, just keep walking, take the stairs, take the walk whenever necessary.
I see. When we talk about this, right, something that popped into my mind is like we are living in the era where we think that healthy lifestyle is a choice. You get what I mean? It's like people can choose to practice healthy lifestyle, or they can choose not to have a healthy lifestyle. But in my perspective right now, when you said, and when I understand about this sarcopenia, muscle loss, not exercising, how does it actually affects our muscle and everything? I feel like it's not a choice. It's like it's supposed to be an essential thing that we do every day, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Am I making
Yeah.
sense? I don't know.
Yeah,
Am I making it complicated or something?
I think it definitely makes sense because people, when you realize the importance,
Yep.
like how does the whole thing works, okay, or maybe not the whole thing, so you know the relation between sarcopenia, you lose of muscle,
Yep.
you didn't take care of your diet, that become an essential for you.
Mm.
But if let's say our audience, before they tune into this episode, they might not know. They might think that it's okay, I'm busy, so I rather sleep and I rather just eat whatever I have without taking care of diet. So we do hope as well after the sharing from Pingy, like the audience, you all can get something. And in fact, as what you said, healthy to maintain, I don't know, to keep ourselves healthy, practicing the healthy lifestyle is
Yep.
essential.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the general recommendation for us to do exercise at least per week?
So if you've never done weightlifting resistance training before, the general guideline actually recommends 2 to 3 times a week, and then each time about 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And then once you get comfortable with it, or you want to improve your muscle strength, you want to grow bigger muscle, then feel free to add on the intensity and also the frequency. So to me, the consistent is key.
That's true. Consistency.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to our question earlier, right? You mentioned a statement that it can be reserved, this sarcopenia.
The reverse.
Yeah, the reverse part. Yeah. Is it okay? We move on into the
Sure,
this
let's
part, right?
go back into that. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's very interesting as well. When after we talk about lifestyle, then we go back to the reverse
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Can sarcopenia reverse? And you said yes. So maybe you want to explain why do you think so?
So why sarcopenia can be reversed is that it's a loss of muscle mass and strength, right? So with a good nutrition, proper diet,
Yep.
adequate enough of the protein,
Yep.
and also adequate amount of this strength training can help us to build back our muscle. So that's why this sarcopenia can actually be reversed, because our muscle can be grown back.
Even though we are 60 years old.
That is a question that I also want to
Yeah.
ask. Yeah.
If you are still fit to do exercise and you keep it consistent, it's still possible.
I see. Got it. Okay.
Because my general perception is that if let's say we grow older, probably the muscle loss will be faster, and it will be
yes.
relatively harder to build it back. Right. And you mentioned about the exercise. When you say the exercise, that's for sure we know when we train our muscle will grow. How about the nutrition wise? And because you mentioned about milk as well, right? So is it enough to, if let's say for elderly, like older people, they do exercise and they also just include, for example, milk in their diet, would they be enough to fight sarcopenia, or to improve their muscle mass?
Okay, hold on. So because you mentioned specific milk, I'm trying to challenge the conversation.
Yeah.
We should actually focus more on the protein or the milk. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, so okay, because milk for me, why I asked that question,
Yeah.
because elderly, sometimes what I understand, probably they don't have their appetite will be lesser. So what I think of when you drink something rather than you eat, for example, like a chicken breast, like my grandma, she can't even finish it. Yeah. So I'm just, probably you can bring into a perspective of protein as well as milk, so that our audience, maybe they are younger audience, they can get something out of it as well.
Yeah.
What I can think of is milk is convenient. You can get it everywhere, and you don't have to cook it like the chicken breast. You can just get it from any convenience store, right? So let's say if I were to work outside, I go out and eat, there's not much of protein choices that I have, then maybe I can just go to the store and quickly grab a pack of milk, okay, to increase my protein intake.
I see. Okay. So is there any different type of milk available? I mean, I can see a lot of different, and sometimes I realize the main, probably the two group that I notice is fortified milk and also regular milk, the usual milk. Is there any differences that if let's say we were to take it, towards the nutrition content maybe?
So there's a lot of different fortified milk with different formulas in the market where they target different groups.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can go look at the fortified milk with added protein. Okay. Lower in fat would be much better. So this fortified milk with added protein will definitely enhance the protein intake into our daily life compared to just drinking regular milk.
But before that, what does it mean by fortified milk?
So fortified is something like they add on to the milk itself. Like let's say they can be not just protein, it can be calcium, it can be vitamins A, B, C, D, and all this.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Because when we say fortified, it sounded like it's being, like what you say, right? It's being added and stuff, right? Maybe some people with, very disconnected brain like mine who cannot process things. Maybe I would just say fortified. Is it safe? Because it's fortified.
Or maybe you can think of enrich.
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 I see. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, enrich with all the nutrients
All the
that
nutrients
our body needs, right?
Yeah, essentially need.
Yeah, got it.
All right. Okay. So usually, just now you mentioned the difference between fortified milk and regular milk will be on the nutrients that they add in. And we talk a lot about protein as well, right? So is there any difference based on your observation? Is there any difference on the protein content in fortified milk and regular milk? Is there any huge difference that you notice?
So for regular milk, a serving which is about 250 ml a glass of milk,
A glass,
has
yeah.
about
Like this, right?
8 grams.
250.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like this.
Okay, all right.
Usually has about 8 grams of protein and then around 150 kilocalories. So if you go for low fat skim milk, the calories and fat content will be lower. As for fortified milk, it can go up to 10 grams per serving. So means that 2 glasses, same serving size of but different milk. If I drink the fortified milk, I can get another 2 grams of protein, which is from the same serving.
I see.
I see. So which is 20 to 30% higher as compared with regular milk.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
With additional of like that calcium and other...
And also other things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay, I'm imagining right now how can we keep or how can we involve this, for example, fortified milk into our daily diet? Do you have any tips that we can include?
Maybe we can start from breakfast, like when we even like go out or have the breakfast at home.
I'll drink coffee.
You drink.
I will drink coffee.
You drink coffee with milk.
Latte or Americano?
Sometimes Americano, sometimes latte.
Sometimes latte.
Yeah.
Okay, like let's say if you were to drink latte, then you can use the fortified milk instead of regular milk to make a latte. Even though if you drink Americano, maybe morning tea time, you can have a glass of the fortified milk as well.
Okay.
And then we can always use the fortified milk as a base for like if I want to make a smoothie, if I want to make a milkshake for a higher protein content.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. To put in the milkshake or like making a smoothies. Yeah.
And then like, let's say if I'm getting hungry in between meals or like I want to have something before bed. So instead of snacking on junk food, those chips or popcorns, those high fat, high sugar food, I can just get a glass of fortified milk, which is healthier, more nutritious.
Understand. Okay, when you say about snacking, I wouldn't say that I disagree, but for me it's like I need something that I can chew, like a texture in my mouth, because if I just drink, it just feel like it's just going into my body. So will you both like just take fortified milk alone, or you will actually eat with something?
Maybe you can go first.
It depends on my cravings, but like let's say if I want something to chew, maybe I can make a bowl of whole grain cereal plus the fortified milk.
Okay, that maybe I would consider. Maybe like also oat, and then I put the fortified milk, because like I just need something that something to chew.
Because sometimes by drinking milk, it feels like just drink water, right?
Enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying this because if we want to, like, we are trying to create the awareness to people, right, about this milk, this fortified milk, and how much the benefits can it actually give to us, especially in fighting this sarcopenia at early age.
Right.
Yeah. So people might have a lot of questions in their mind, So that's why we have to think in a very, very different perspective. Because some people, they might actually think the way how I think, right? Maybe for some people, it's just like take with coffee or whatever. Because even if we talk about coffee, I'm not sure if I would put this one glass into like an espresso, you get what I mean? Because it's gonna be like very diluted. Yeah. So that's just something that I want to challenge the thoughts lah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
all right.
Basically that will we are almost pretty much cover the topic that we want to cover today.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. So I think as like a conclusion or summary from Pinkney, right? Because we talk about sarcopenia itself, we talk about muscle loss, we talk about the importance of protein, we even talk about milk and what is the difference between fortified regular milk and some recipe that you were suggesting just now, right? So is there any like how would you recommend like maybe three practical way for us to include in diet in addition of what you mentioned just now to prevent sarcopenia, since we talk a lot more to take care of our muscle to prevent sarcopenia.
So first, always to make sure we consume adequate amount of protein. Okay? And like I mentioned just now, let's say if I really can't get enough of protein from outside or anywhere, we can complement with the fortified milk to enhance our protein back. So it's not just about being eating enough of protein at this meal. If I don't eat enough this meal, I can always get back more on the next meal. So fortified milk, I feel like it's a great choice. It's convenient, and we can just drink it anytime. And then we can always start our day, the breakfast, with high protein instead of high carbs. I'm sure we're all familiar with our local traditional breakfast, right? So instead of like nasi lemak or dosa roti canai, all these things that's high in carbs, we can actually go for high protein. So how can we do it? We can just grab a glass of this fortified milk. And having a high protein diet compared to high carbohydrates diet is also better to maintain our blood glucose.
And I think most importantly, all this fortified milk is ready to drink.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to like, bancho. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much. Or is there anything else that you want to add, Pinkney?
I guess that's all from my side.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Shani, it's been a very fruitful conversation, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of like knowledge, I would say. And thank you so much for making it very layman, I think. Yeah, so we hope that people can really understand all the information that we are trying to say. And we really want to highlight that, fortified milk can include it as one of the ways to really fight this sarcopenia. And this answers back, the questions or the statements that we brought earlier, sometimes English, you have to translate and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Does sarcopenia affect younger generations or only older people? So we kind of like get the idea behind it. Why the data says like this, why actually it's gonna start to impact younger generations more as well. And the second question is, does milk can actually help to fight sarcopenia? And indeed, with all the benefits, nutritions, enriched vitamins or like, certain nutrients can really help us to prevent this muscle loss, at least at our younger generations. So I mean like for us, do we want to highlight anything about our recommendations and stuff?
As a general recommendation, as included in a healthier lifestyle, we recommend 1 to 2 glasses of fortified milk, for example, like HL SuperMilk, as part of the healthy lifestyle or healthy diet to maintain your muscle. But when we speak about protein content, in order, for example, by drinking 2 glasses of HL SuperMilk a day, where is it? You'll give you 20 grams of protein.
That's actually a lot though.
That's actually
a lot.
Especially for certain elderly, they might need higher protein. So that could be one of the options for them to increase their protein intake in their diet.
Milk for them is easy to digest as well.
That's true.
And actually 2 glasses of milk is also what recommended according to our Malaysian dietary guidelines.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Pinkney, for your time, for your insights.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being agile as well. Because only us know, right? What's the technicalities that happen behind the recording. And again, we want to acknowledge HL SuperMilk. Thank you so much for sponsoring our episode. And we hope that all the listeners, audiences who watch us on YouTube, please follow, like, and subscribe. Not only Diet Talk for future episodes, because we gonna focus a lot on health and nutrition, specifically for this episode that is sponsored by HL SuperMilk.
Yep.
All right. So I think that's about it for our episode. The first episode related to HL SuperMilk,
Yes,
right?
We talk about Sarcopenia. Yes, and there are a few more episodes
coming.
to come. Yeah,
Yep. And stay tuned on our Instagram as well. There are many reels related to this sarcopenia awareness, and we hope that you guys will be loyal to us. Always follow us on.
Go follow them.
Yeah.
With the editors or something here.
Not sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much. Let's close the session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.